Foreigners say the Philippines feels like a different universe. Not because of the food, not because of the weather, but because of a set of culture hacks Filipinos use every single day. Tiny behaviors that make zero sense until you experience them. And once you do, your entire view of Filipino culture changes forever. Today, we're breaking down the Filipino culture hacks that leave foreigners saying, "Wait, what just happened?" The Philippines is one of the most culturally unique countries in the world, shaped by Southeast Asian roots, 300 years of Spanish influence, 50 years of American presence, and thousands of years of indigenous wisdom. The result? A people who think differently, communicate differently, and love differently. What foreigners mistake as quirks are actually tools for connection, for survival, and for community. Let's break them down. Ask a Filipino for directions, and watch what happens. They won't use their finger. They won't wave an arm. Instead, a small pout. A quick lip point. A silent directional signal only locals fully understand. Some think it's a joke, some think it's flirting. But to Filipinos, it's perfectly normal. So normal that children do it before they learn to speak. Why? Because in Filipino culture, subtlety is strength. Pointing with the finger can feel rude or aggressive. Lip pointing is softer, respectful, and less confrontational. Linguists call it a microgesture. Filipinos call it communication. And once foreigners spend a few weeks here, they start doing it too. Filipinos rarely say no. To Westerners, this is confusing. Sometimes even frustrating. I don't want to disappoint you. I'm saying no kindly. This comes from a cultural value called haya, a gentle form of respect designed to protect feelings and preserve relationships. In much of the world, communication is direct. In the Philippines, communication is emotional. Filipinos' way. Will this hurt them? Will this embarrass them? Will this make them uncomfortable? And the result? A culture where kindness sits above confrontation. Foreigners eventually learn. You don't listen to the words. You listen to the tone. In the Philippines, hospitality isn't an action, it's a reflex. Foreigners share the same story again and again. I walked into a Filipino house, and suddenly I was being fed like a king. You don't need a reservation. You don't need an invitation. You don't even need a reason. The moment you enter someone's home, you become part of the family. This tradition dates back to pre-colonial times. In ancient Filipino communities, offering food to a traveler wasn't optional. It was a duty, a moral responsibility. Even today, when resources are tight, Filipinos give you their best chair, their best plate, and their best food. Foreigners call it overwhelming. Filipinos call it normal. Here's the truth. To Filipinos, feeding someone is not feeding the stomach. It's feeding the relationship. Foreigners always ask, why do Filipinos have so many cousins? Simple. In the Philippines, family is elastic. Your cousin isn't just the son of your aunt. A cousin can be a neighbor, a childhood friend, someone who lived in the same house, someone who calls your mom tita, even someone you met last week, who immediately felt like family. The words kuya, ate, tita, and tito are not titles. They are respect badges. This cultural hack builds a massive emotional safety net. Need help? You have 10 cousins. Need advice? There's always a tita. Need protection? There's a kuya right there. Foreigners quickly realize, in the Philippines, you are never alone, even if you want to be. This is the one that truly shocks foreigners. Not just surprises them, not just confuses them, but shakes them in a way they never forget. A disaster hits. The sky turns dark. Winds roar like monsters. The streets disappear underwater. Everything familiar becomes uncertain. In most countries, this moment triggers panic, fear, shouting, chaos, blame. But in the Philippines, something else happens. Not a careless smile, not a reckless smile, but a small, steady smile that says, we've been through this before, and we will get through it again. Kids splash in the rain like it's an afternoon adventure. Neighbors form human chains to carry each other to safety. People with almost nothing still cook giant pots of food to feed families they've never even met. Foreigners watching this for the first time stand there in disbelief. How can they smile in a moment like this? Because in many places, disaster breaks communities. But in the Philippines, disaster activates community. What outsiders don't realize is this. It isn't pretending the situation isn't painful. This mindset, this incredible emotional strength, is a cultural hack forged through centuries of storms, earthquakes, invasions, wars, displacement, loss, rebuilding, and rising again and again. Generations of Filipinos passed down one powerful lesson. Disasters destroy things, but they do not have to destroy people. So Filipinos fight storms, not with fear, but with unity, not with anger, but with faith, not with despair, but with that unmistakable smile, a smile that has held the country together through the worst moments of its history. Foreigners describe the Filipino smile as light in the middle of chaos, hope with feet, sunshine during a storm. But Filipinos describe it simply as life, a way of saying, as long as we have each other, we still have everything. Foreigners are always surprised by how Filipinos eat, not just the flavors, not just the dishes, but the experience. In the Philippines, food is never a personal activity. Sharing snacks, sharing drinks, sharing food straight from one spoon to another. Something that shocks foreigners every time. To outsiders, this seems unusual. In many countries, food is divided. Your plate is your plate. Your portion is your portion. Your meal is your moment. But in the Philippines, food is a circle. Everyone reaches in. Everyone takes what they need. Everyone gives what they can. And there is one question foreigners hear again and again. Not, do you want more? Not, are you still hungry? But, sawa ka na? Are you tired of it? Foreigners are stunned by this question because it doesn't ask about your stomach. It asks about your satisfaction. In the Filipino mindset, you don't just eat until you are full. You eat until you feel complete. Content. Taken care of. It's not a meal. It's a moment of connection. Filipinos have a way of watching you quietly, checking if your plate is empty, if your eyes are still searching, if you're being polite instead of honest. Before you can even speak, someone is already placing more food on your plate. Foreigners panic the first time this happens. They think they're being overwhelmed. But really, they're being loved. Because for Filipinos, food is more than nourishment. It's a language, a form of affection, a cultural handshake that says, you are safe here. You are welcome here. You are one of us. In many places, people feed you because you're hungry. In the Philippines, people feed you because you are important. And that's the real shock. Foreigners come expecting a meal, but what they receive is a family. Foreigners notice that Filipinos say sorry in situations where no apology is needed. Step too close? Sorry, walk past someone. Sorry. Try to get their attention? Sorry. This hack isn't guilt. It's humility, politeness, acknowledgement. Filipinos soften every interaction out of respect and warmth. Foreigners say the Philippines is unforgettable, not because of places, but because of people. These culture hacks may confuse outsiders, but they reveal a deeper truth. Filipinos live with heart. They communicate with empathy. They welcome like family, and they endure with a smile. These aren't just habits. These are the codes that keep the nation strong. Once you understand these culture hacks, you understand the Filipino soul.